Welcome to this video on the test development process and the purpose of data review. This training video provides you with terminology, an overview of the annual test development process, and the purpose of this educator committee on data review. In assessment, the term item is used instead of question because of the association with the question mark punctuation. But some items actually have directives with a period or sentence completion, and so we will use the terminology item instead of question. The process for developing new test content is shown here on the right side of this diagram. It's a yearly process where once items are written, they go through a series of quality control and editing steps. So first they are reviewed by the test vendor and MDE assessment specialist. Then they go on to a new item review committee. That committee consists of educators such as yourself. After that committee edits and approves those, it goes to a community review where they look for issues of bias and sensitivity, and the items will be further edited or rejected. Once those items are approved, they go on to be field tested on an MCA or alternate MCA. When an item is field tested, they do not count for or against a student's score. Instead, the student performance on each item is collected and evaluated. It's the item that we are studying at this point, not the student's performance. After field testing, the items go on to the Educator Data Review Committee, which is this committee. This committee will evaluate the items in light of the data to determine if it's valid. And if determined valid, then this will be added to what we call the operational bank and is eligible to measure students' ability on an operational MCA or alternate MCA. Achievement level score ranges are only determined in the first year of an MCA or alternate MCA. And that is going to be then aligned to the newly adapted standards in a process called standard setting. The scores determined the year are used for every year beyond that on the MCA or alternate MCA until new standards are implemented. For detailed information about scale score ranges that you can share with your administration, please scan the QR code here. Also, a document is included in the module resources on Canvas. To provide a more in-depth look at what your committee will be doing, we will watch the following video clip. It is part of a longer module that further explains the test development process. The full module is recommended, but not required part of this training.
The next stage in the test item development process is field testing. From the test items approved by new item review and community member review committees, MDE selects certain items for field testing. Items are selected based on their desirable characteristics, including content, necessary coverage of the Minnesota K-12 academic standards, and avoidance of queuing answers to other items. The purpose of field testing items is to gather data on how the items perform. Field test items are embedded within the MCA and are not included in student scores. After new test items are field tested, they undergo a data review. A committee of educators analyzes data from the new test items to determine how well the test items performed across all student groups. The Data Review Committee ensures that an MCA test item does not favor a specific gender, racial group, or special population. The committee also looks at statistics related to item difficulty, item discrimination, and item bias to evaluate how the test item performed. After this review, educators recommend which items can be included on the MCA as written and which items should not be included. MDE uses the committee's recommendation as part of the final decision process for deciding whether a test item can move to the MCA.
The item and test development process, along with the role of this Educator Review Committee, fits in with Minnesota's 10 commitments to equity in many ways. The three of them most relevant here are prioritizing equity, measuring what matters, and monitoring implementation of the standards. One way that prioritizing equity shows up is by having stakeholders participate in the review of the items and that the data verifies fairness and equity for all students. Relating to the measurement of what matters, your committee reviews the items data to verify that the content and distractors were appropriate and to confirm that the item appropriately aligned to the grade and benchmark expectations. Lastly, monitoring implementation of standards. This not only happens by this group monitoring the alignment, but also to review that the data is valid and also that your participation in data review hopefully influences your lesson planning as well and how you lead other teachers in your schools and districts. This committee's work in data review requires a delicate balance. We have time limits, but we still need to discuss and address the issues. There are various working styles, meeting formats, and interesting item aspects to consider. We need all voices, so please speak up and record your responses, but also be as succinct and as straight to the point as possible. Thank you. This concludes the training video on the test development process and the purpose of data review. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the forum on Canvas or send an email to mde.panels@state.mn.us.